Green Spark, Chapter 15. I paced around the front yard of the school. I watched as kids came out of the building looking worried, relieved, stressed, but nothing compared to the happy, nervous look I had plastered on my face. My body was vibrating with excitement. I was struggling to keep it down. The final day of tests just came to an end about 5 minutes ago, and I had raced out those doors like never before. I'd grabbed my bags and raced outside waiting for Carl to come outside as well. I almost didn't care about how poorly I thought I did on the final test. It was ELA, and although we practiced a lot, there was just something I couldn't grasp about being able to write something for so long. I know Carl's schedule was different. He had the test in the morning and was probably still getting changed after his gym class. I almost wanted to wonder about Emma and Star, maybe even Ira and Winter, but I couldn't let them cloud my mind. The only thing I wanted to think about was Carl. What I was going to say. I stopped my pacing and stared at the door, fear replacing my previous emotions. What the hell was I going to say? I had been studying and practicing tests, questions, final booklets, and reading books on books on books. I had no time to rehearse what I was going to say to Carl, what I was going to do other than ask him to come get ice cream with me. He loved it, and it would have made the perfect date if we didn't do it so often. Damn it! I continued to nervously pace the front yard, my hands deep in my pockets as I continuously glanced up at the doors. Damn it, Carl, what's taking you so long? I had my back turned to the door as he finally came outside with a big smile on his face. Clinton! I swing my head around, unable to hide the nervous smile I had on my face. He giggles as he looks up at me, walking over to my side. Ice cream now, right? He seemed so happy with this big smile. I was so happy I wouldn't have to hide my feelings any longer. But, damn it, what if he said no? Clinton! Carl! I turn around at Emma's voice to see the rest of our friends, minus Winter, come out of the doors as well. Star seemed to catch the redness in my face, smiling softly before she looked at Carl as he ran over to them. Hey guys, we're gonna go get ice cream. You guys should come. I felt my heart drop and my smile quickly wiped from my face as I stared at Emma and Star. Ear was glancing up at me confused. I quickly made an X with my arms, glancing at them behind Carl. I felt sweat bead on my forehead as Carl looked up at them with big puppy dog eyes. Actually, kiddo, we're gonna go home and relax. You two should enjoy your ice cream, Emma said, smiling at Star, who nodded softly. Aw, Ira said, quickly being nudged by Star. Come on, we can practice more of your magic. We'll see them later. Star shot me a thumbs up as Carl turned around, shrugging softly. All right, see you guys later, Carl said, running back towards me. Guess it's just the two of us. I felt heat rise to my cheeks as I looked forward. I closed my eyes, clearing my throat as I tossed my bag over my shoulder. Yeah, now I was thinking we could go to the mall instead of that store. They have nicer waffle cones, and your favorite flavor should be in stock now that it's summer. I catch myself almost rambling, trying to hide my feelings. That sounds awesome. Do you think we have enough for me to get double scoops? I nod, feeling my shaking hands against my backpack straps. Even 3 if you wanted. I'd need a cup instead. He seemed a little sad at the idea. Then we'll get you 2, and when we're done wandering around with the first one, we can come back and get you a second one on the way home. He looked up at me with such big eyes. What? I say, chuckling slightly. Are you sure? That's a lot more money than the last few times. I chuckle again and nod. Don't worry about it, Shrimp. I gulp down my nerves as we continue walking. How about you tell me about your test today? It was something he could ramble about, and I didn't want him to look into why I was spending more. Why my palms were so sweaty, why I felt my breathing flow through my lungs much faster than normal, why I could feel every pulse my heart gave off thundering in my chest. Oh, so when we all got seated for it, I was feeling really nervous about it. I mean, like, really nervous. It was the final test of the year, the final day of the year even. And then I remembered you taking me out for ice cream, and all of that kind of just went away. He smiled, his eyes on the ground as he walked beside me. I felt my eyes drawn to his smile, to that calm look in his eyes. So, I really want to thank you for this. Even if you're just spoiling me, I think it helped me pass the test. Heck, it might have helped me pass the other ones, too. He smiles wider, looking up at me, and I can't help but smile down at him. I'm glad, Shrimp. I calmly looked ahead of us, motioning towards the button. You gonna go hit it for us? He looked over before laughing and running off ahead of us to hit the button for the crosswalk. I took this moment to sigh and wipe the sweat off my hands, wiping them onto my pants before grabbing my backpack straps again. I glanced at a strand of hair that fell over my eyes and wondered if I should fix it. Do my hair up a little better, even. Come on, it's gonna turn green soon! I looked back at Carl and jogged towards him. We both wait for just a few seconds before crossing. I had time, you dork, I say, ruffling up his hair. He glared at me, sticking out his tongue and sighing with a soft smile before adjusting his backpack. There was a calm silence between us, and we continued walking. I watched as some dogs passed on the other side of the street, looked around as we passed a familiar house or two, and tried to keep my mind preoccupied, glancing at neat cars as they passed. Anything to avoid making my face red, thinking about what I could say. Damn it, I should be thinking about that instead. Clinton? I flinched and glanced at Carl as he looked ahead of us. What kind of car is that one? I could see a smile on his face before I looked up. Wait, I know. I was still searching through the streets to figure out which one it was before I caught my eyes on it, but just too slow. It's a punch buggy! I tense up a little as Carl hits my arm softly. It was much softer than I expected, much softer than I would have done to him. I laugh and softly rub my arm, faking some sort of pain. He laughs and pushes me, seeing the fakeness before I look back over at it. It was a nice blue color before it turned onto a street we couldn't see. Oh well, I'll get you with the golden one eventually. He chuckles and smiles. Yeah, if we ever see it again. I swear that thing only drives around on the south side. He giggles as we pass the final street towards the mall. Do you think we can get a little bit of food, too? I sigh and feel the change in my pocket. I only had about $10, enough for 2 rounds of ice cream. Maybe next time, once I have a bit more. Okay. He didn't seem too sad about it, but eagerly ran towards the doors, opening them for me. Just ice cream for now, then. I watched in fear as I walked through the doors. I knew now I only had a limited amount of time before we were gone, before I would have lost the chance to tell him anything. Come on! I snap out of my thoughts as he runs ahead of me. It's this way, right? I gulp again, angry at the knot in my throat. Yeah, don't run though, you don't want to run into someone. He sighs and smiles, waiting for me at the corner of the entrance. We walked to the ice cream stand in the middle of the mall. It opened up in the summer months and was some weird advertising spot every other month, or a phone repair station last year. I shake my head and try and focus my thoughts as we step closer and closer to it. It was still maybe 200 feet ahead of us, but that only meant I had 200 steps to at least start thinking of something. How would I even start it? Hey Carl, I like you. No, that's too bold. And what if he just thinks of it as a joke? He'd probably reply like, haha, I like you too, Clinton. I glared downwards before sighing, watching the distance shrink. Maybe... Carl, I've had something I wanted to tell you about, but I didn't want to stress you out, and... Hey Clinton, what kind of flavor do you want? I can order for us this time. I glanced down at him and smiled. Oh, just a scoop of brownie, I say with a small sigh, relaxing my shoulders and fishing out my cash. I walk off to the side as he orders the ice cream for us. I watch him, still admiring that smile, still fumbling over what to say in my head. I lean against the wall, looking at my feet. It was easier to think if I wasn't looking at him. Maybe, hey, Carl, do you like me? Maybe if I asked it out, he'd realize I was serious. It'd probably be cute the way he'd stumble over his words, put on the spot like that. I groaned, thinking the worst of it. He'd probably not like being put on the spot like that. Maybe, Carl, I love you. God, no, that was way too bold, way too extreme. I sigh, chuckling to myself. I glanced back up, hearing his soft footsteps come my way. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I just got a regular waffle cone, though. I thought the chocolate one might be a bit too much. I nod softly, taking a lick of my ice cream. Yeah, good choice. What's that flavor called again? I paused to let him finish licking it. He looks over at the stand again, standing on his tippy toes for a second, trying to get a better look. Mango chocolate swirl. He nods, smiling softly, and looks back up at me. There isn't much chocolate in the swirl, so the chocolate waffle cone makes it a lot better. Oh yeah? I say, pushing myself off the wall. Tell me more about it, but don't let your ice cream melt. I smile at him as we walk through the mall. I'll let him ramble about the flavor. How he's a little annoyed it only comes around during summer because the only vendor that seems to sell it is this one. Maybe for Christmas or something I can get a tub of it somewhere. We wander through the stores, 1, then 2, then 4, as my body shakes, my heart pounding out of my chest, waiting for the moment I could tell him, the moment where I finally found the words. Damn it, I just need to think of something before we left the mall, and my time ran out. We had just finished our ice cream as we wandered into a game store. There was a few plushies from some games he liked, one of the horror genre and a different game I hadn't even understood the premise of yet. My eyes widen as I look over at a small keychain with a figurine on it. I knew he liked this one. It was a funny, tall skeleton with a scarf. Maybe I could gift it to him while trying to confess? I chuckled at myself. It was worth a try, at least. Maybe it could even give me the strength to do it. Hey, Carl, I say, getting his attention. He walks over to me from just a few feet away. Do you think they have that fighting game we heard Emma and Star talk about? The one with all the characters? Oh, that Smash one? I nod. Yeah, probably over here somewhere. I watch as he walks across the store and starts looking. Before he can turn his head or find it, I quickly snatch the keychain off the rack and fish out my change again, passing the teller $2 before it was too late. He smiled at me and glanced over at Carl before handing it to me. Thank you, I mumbled before shoving it in my pocket, politely waving away his offer for the receipt and walking over to Carl. And find it yet? He sits down on the ground, checking the last shelf. It doesn't look like it. He frowned slightly as he scanned. Well, that's okay. We could probably play it at their house sometime. Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe if we have enough controllers, we could all play together. He jumped up, smiling wide. I fidgeted with the keychain in my pocket. Yeah, that'd be super fun. I smile as I look around. Well, let's get out of here. He looked at me confused. Just out of the store, not the mall just yet. I know you like to wander. He smiled and walked out beside me. We continued down the line of stores, just glancing into most of them as my sweaty hands gripped the keychain. I was almost afraid to break it, so I soon settled on just grabbing the rim in my pocket. I can do this. I can tell him. It's not that hard. Hell, I could just say I liked him. He'd understand. If Star was right, he'd understand. But damn it, why was that so hard? I felt the air get tight around me as I opened my mouth. A knot in my throat which was hard to push past. A sinking feeling in my stomach was surrounded by butterflies. My sweaty hands shook as they held on for what seemed like dear life. My feet felt like they couldn't keep up with his tiny steps anymore. Like my body was so scared out of my mind to confess to him because, damn it, what if he said no? What if everything and everyone was wrong? I almost stomped my foot to keep up before I opened my mouth again, that same knot coming back to taunt me. Carl, I finally get out, caught in my throat once again. But not by this nervous giddiness anymore. No, caught in my throat by pure fear, as my ears focus on a distant conversation. Yeah, boss, got it. I spun my head around, a familiar voice making the sweat that covered my body run cold. My shaking doubled as I scanned. I knew what I heard. I just wish I was mistaking it like so many times before. But there was no mistaking it this time. Another contract after this one, too? That same disheartened yet obedient voice I grew up with. Clinton? I shuddered and quickly glanced around past her, my hand reaching towards Carl's just as quickly. I finally spotted him, that same blonde hair that fell in front of my eyes. An almost similar haircut, a mockery of me. And then, just as Carl said my name, a flicker of those eyes that thank the gods didn't stray from the floor in front of himself, as my name flew through the wind. The glowing green of his right eye took the attention off his left, an almost matching red to mine. But like hell, I wasn't going to let Carl's words reach his ears enough for him to realize. Clinton, what's going on? I looked down at Carl and then for an escape. He was headed towards us. I quickly grabbed Carl's hand and ran towards the exit. I scanned behind us as we turned a corner. The running definitely would have caught some attention, but I wasn't going to turn around yet. I ignored his complaints as I quickly slammed the doors open in front of us and pulled us out of the way of them, pressing us against the wall beside it, my arm now across his chest as I shake. Clinton, tell me what's going on, please! I shake even more every time he says my name. Damn it, I was so close to finally fucking being free! Carl, listen, I love you, but right now we need to be quiet for just a minute, please. I say, my eyes flickering into the window of the door as I watch and scan for him, watching to see if we needed to run more. Just to watch as he walked past the exit we ran out of. I sighed, letting out a shaky breath, so much worse than before, as I looked back at Carl. I could see his wide eyes staring at me, an expression I couldn't read other than confusion littering it. Man, I was trying so hard not to worry him anymore. I saw his face get red, maybe with anger. I sigh again, trying to calm the rest of my nerves. Carl seems to glance down at his hands. Then he looked back up at me, then towards the doors, his eyes only growing wider. Carl, I am so sorry, I say, a hand coming up and running through my hair. I am so sorry. This wasn't how today was supposed to go. We didn't even get your second ice cream. Clinton, his voice seemed so soft, nothing like the anger and more confusion I expected. But I wasn't done. He didn't deserve that. I promise I'll explain when we get home, but I think we need to go. We need to get the hell out of here. I need to keep you safe. Clinton. Although he raised his voice, there was no anger in it, almost a smile. As his face continued to get red, I paused, looking down at him as he looked at his feet, almost embarrassed. Maybe he was hurt. Did I hurt him while we were running? Did I grab his arm too roughly? I bent down, wanting to meet his eyes as I reached for his arm, wanting to make sure it was okay. Did I hurt you? He seemed to go quiet, a bigger smile growing on his face that almost made me smile with awkwardness. It was a contagious smile nonetheless. No, I just... He looked back at me, his hand coming to meet mine in the middle. I love you too. I felt my heart drop, my words coming back to me. I gasped, a quick intake of air now trapped inside my lungs. I realized why you wanted to come out today. And I guess you wanted to do this a lot sooner too, huh? He chuckles as I stand there dumbfounded. Damn it, this was not how I wanted to do it. He deserved a better confession than fumbling with my words. He looked back up at me. You did mean it, right? He almost looked as scared as I felt. Yes, I managed to speak out. It was short, quick, and barely let any air out of my lungs. Yes, Carl. I cleared my throat, trying to dislodge the knot that pricked my eyes with tears. I quickly draw my hand away, pain littering my face as I see fear in his eyes. I quickly dig in my pocket and pull out the keychain. But I got you this. I was gonna do a whole thing, and... I opened my hand to show him, just to see his eyes light up again. Clinton! His voice seemed on the verge of tears, and damn it, so did mine. You remembered it was my favorite character? I chuckled, trying to hold back the nervous tears. Oh, yeah, you rambled about him for weeks after we met. I almost flinched as a blink let out a tear from my eye. Fuck, don't cry now. He smiled at me, seeming to let go of the hold he had on his emotions, taking the charm from his hands and wrapped his arms around me. I love you, Clinton. I felt my knees hit the floor as I wrapped my arms around him. I was a bit shorter than him like this, but that was okay. Nothing else mattered as I wrapped my arms around him as well. I think just a few tears filled my eyes as I smiled. God, I love you, Carl. After a few minutes of the best hug of my life, I could see those eyes flash in my memory again. I quickly pulled away from the hug and grabbed Carl's hand softly. We need to get out of here. He pauses, wiping a tear from his cheek as he looks at me with growing fear. I saw my brother. His eyes widen as he stammers back and looks towards the door, piecing the previous moments together. You mean the one that... Carl started to panic as much as I did. Yes, now let's go. Right now. Yeah, no, I agree. I quickly dust my pants off as I take his hand, pausing for a minute as I feel the softness of them like never before. Come on, he says, quickly starting to run off. We ran almost non-stop for a few blocks, pausing at crosswalks and glancing back too many times to count. Eventually, we only got a few blocks away from our house, when we finally couldn't take the run anymore. Not even jogging helped our struggling body. God, what would we even do if he knew you were alive? I shuddered as Carl thought out loud. It struck something deep within me. That thought I wish was never something I would have to think of. We walked alongside the field near our school for a little while, taking our time. We were far enough away now. I don't know, I mumbled, finally ending the thoughts and responding to his question, albeit now 10 minutes later. He's not like Emma. He would kill me given the chance. I shuddered and looked towards the field just to see our friends. I snickered, breaking into a small laugh as I looked over at them. Speak of the devil. Do you think that's offensive? I stopped and looked at him, almost shocked. Oh God, I didn't know if it was or not. The hell was saying, oh God, offensive? I shoved the ideas aside. We'll ask them later. Come on, let's go hang out with them. If anyone could help us in a potentially dangerous situation against more demons, it would be them. I glanced at Emma as we ran towards them, smiling. I hid down the fear I had. It would only set her off right now anyways. But this fear wasn't for her. Finally, it wasn't for her. Now she might be the only thing that saves me. From almost killing her more than once, she might just be my only hope of survival. Clinton, Carl! Star yelled, running up to us. I was almost surprised to see Ira practicing some spells, just simple ones beside Winter. Hey, guys. I cleared my throat, annoyed at the fear that still laced my words. And what's going on over here? Ira's going to some summer camp thing, so we're teaching her a bit about magic before she goes. Star glances down at our hands. I'm still holding Carl's. I think we were the whole time we were running, but it felt comforting. It felt nice knowing I was there to protect him, too. I assume everything went well like I said it would. She giggles as my face gets red. Carl looked between us, confused. Yeah, you were right all along. I looked in at Carl, noticing his confused expression. I went to her with advice when I was worried about confessing to you. He smiles and leans against me, sending a shiver down my spine. I straighten up, looking past Star as my face turns red. Well, I'm glad, he said softly. What kind of camp is Ira going to? Oh, just a science one, I think. Star looks back over at them as Ira makes a ball of water over Emma's head, seeming to tease her with it. Star chuckles and looks back over at us. Gonna come join us? You've missed a few of the group meetings, so I'd love to teach you some magic. I shudder before Carl gently pulls my arm. I think it'll help. My eyes widen as I look down. Star worriedly looking at us. It's like she could sense something was off. Yeah, all right. What would we be learning first? I say, walking alongside her as we all head over to the others. Well, it would be smart to start you off with the basics, but Ira can teach you probably one of the most important spells. Oh man, I wonder if you'll be able to perform it. That'll be fun to see. She looks at us, almost seeming to analyze us. She shakes her head and runs towards the others. Give me some water runes. I chuckle at her energy and look at Carl, who was lost in thought. I stop walking, giving us some space before we reach the group. Hey, what's up? How are you not terrified right now? I smile at him and settle for just showing him my shaking hands. I can put on a pretty good front when I want to. I'm worried if I show how scared I am, it'll set off Emma or something. He gently grabs my shaking hands in front of him. His hands felt warm, calm. Can we talk about it when we get home? Yeah, Shrimp, always. Come on, guys! Star yelled, holding up 2 pieces of paper. They were small squares, and as we got closer, they just seemed like regular sticky notes with some drawings on them. Okay, so these are just simple water spells. Here's a pencil. To complete the spell, you just make a mark in the middle. That'll activate it at the same time, so if you have magic, then you'll have a water ball in front of you like Ira. If we have magic? Carl said gently, taking the note from her and examining it first. If you're a descendant of a divine being like Emma and I are, or if you got turned into a demon like Winter or Ira, if you're... Hold on, what? I say, looking at Ira. Carl looks at me confused, tilting his head as I feel his grip tighten just a little. Oh, sorry, wait. Ira, did you want to keep it a secret? Ira laughed and waved her hand. God, no! I want everyone to know I'm part of the cool kids now! Emma laughs and shakes her head, seeming to disagree with being called a cool kid. Okay, so we ended up having to fight a demon trained in hell that was hunting Emma down. I could see Emma seemed to lose a bit of her hyper demeanor. She was putting on a mask again. And somehow Ira got caught in the crossfire, both figurative and literally, and in the end ended up getting turned into a half-blood. But that's not all. There were witches and wizards in the past too. I guess they could be covered by divine beings as well, but if they have magic too, that might be in your bloodline. I groaned, understanding that I would be able to perform the spell unless I was adopted. I chuckled at my thoughts. Adopted at the start. I corrected myself. Carl looked at me. Go ahead first, Shrimp. We both know I can. Star looked a little confused before getting flustered, almost like she forgot why I attacked them forever ago. Carl gently taps in the middle of the sticky note with his pencil, a small water ball forming in the palm of his hand, floating there for a second before his eyes light up and it drops onto his hand. I sigh and do mine just to be included. I tap the middle of the note and watch as it creates a water ball much bigger than Carl's. It was almost 5 times the size. Carl was still admiring the water left in his hand. Give me another! Give me another! As he starts talking, my attention shifts, making the water splash onto my hand. I flinch away, not wanting to get my clothes wet, groaning as I do so anyway. Carl looks at me, smiling softly. I have magic too! I giggle at him and Star waves us over. Here, you can learn how to make your own. You might not have enough magic to do this, Carl, but you can use wands too. It's super simple once you know how to draw the symbols. Otherwise, you'll have to draw them out in salt to make them more powerful. I nodded softly at Star's words as she pointed to a page in the book they were going over. It had someone holding a staff carved out of wood, the crystal wrapped in the top by the curves of wood. I imagined myself holding onto that staff, if I could take down my brother, just myself, without dragging any of our friends into another battle, without endangering Carl. Maybe then I wouldn't even fear demons anymore. I shake my head as she starts going over simple spells, the runes of them, and what each symbol means. The basics. It was easy to understand, at least kind of easy to draw. What spell is she making, though? Carl asked, pointing his pencil towards Ira. She's copying out some healing spells for Emma again. Do you guys want some? I nod softly. It would be a good thing to have in general. Ira, do you think you could print off a few more? Oh yeah, no problem. I'm gonna be the best healer around at this rate. Star glares at her with a smile. Ira just sticks out her tongue and continues printing them out. Do you guys want to start to try and control the water? It just takes focus. Carl nods eagerly. Here, you activate the spell, then just, focus on what you wanted to do. Again, Carl nods, eagerly taking the note and activating it, almost seeming lost at what to do here. He smiles, the water ball seeming to stagger in the air as his focus does the same. He giggled and shot the water straight up in the air, letting go of the control he had after just a few seconds, and letting the mist of it rain down on us. I glare at him, not happy about getting more wet. But I smile as I activate mine, already knowing what I'd do with it now. I focus on moving it slowly, left to right at first, doing more than one action, then moving it above Carl's head before he can even realize what I did, dismissing my power over it just to see it splash on his head. Hey! Carl said, glaring at me. Star giggled and stepped back away from us. Emma glanced over and started laughing softly. I guess it's normal to start casting spells on each other. You guys should call a truce while you're ahead. I chuckled and watched Carl as he tried to wipe the water off his face. He's just lucky I can't make the spells as big as he can, Carl said, wiping the water off his hands now. I smiled and hugged him, getting the water on me again, but caring a lot less. Maybe a truce should be in place then? I say, chuckling softly as he pushes away from me, glaring at me with a playful smile. Fine, I guess, but I will get you back one day. Okay, you two, come here. Let's teach you more about how to make those spells by yourself, Star said, calling us back over towards the book. We spent the rest of the day working on learning about the first book in the series of 4 spellbooks. This one taught us about demons and some weaknesses they had, and I probably put them all on edge just a little with how interested I was in it. I tried to put more interest into learning about the spells and how to make them myself rather than learning about demons, once I started noticing Winter's eyes on me in a less than friendly way. I learned how spell combinations work and what sigils to use to make what, with water mostly, and then we went over a bit more about staffs and wands. Maybe I could make one. I don't think I'd have the time with Jake lurking around as much as he is. The mood started to shift as the sun started to go down. I was less happy about everything and more worried. I knew Carl and I had to talk, and that was worrying, but not as much as my brother finding me and finishing the job he started all those years ago. What a great start to summer, huh? Star said, smiling at us as we started packing up everything. I finally lost that happy mask I'd tried so hard to keep up the last few hours. Oh yeah, so great, I muttered, looking towards the mall. Can we hang out again soon? Maybe relax a bit from everything beforehand, though? Carl said, looking between us and then at our friend group. Yeah, what about next week? Ira said, jumping up, tidying the papers she was making. Oh, and don't forget these. A nod takes them gently, passing the rest to Carl. I leave in like 10 days, so we should definitely hang out before then. Yeah, Carl said, carefully putting his notes in his pocket. Then we'll see you guys then, okay? Yeah, see you guys later, Emma said, sitting up and glancing at Star and Winter. Ready to go? Yep, Star said, smiling at Winter and looking for his answer. He nodded, turned into his wolf form. Race you guys there, he said before bolting off. I chuckled as Emma and Star followed. I even watched as they turned into their demon forms, picking Ira up and then flying above Winter. It didn't bother me. I knew they were safe. I knew the difference between good and bad demons now. Come on, let's go home, Shrimp, I say, looking away from them and reaching my hand out for his. He smiled, taking my hand as we walked home in silence.